If you'd like, please follow along in your bulletin for today's scripture, which are selections from Psalm 19. You're blessed when you stay on course, walking steadily on the road revealed by God. You're blessed when you follow the divine directions, doing your best to find God. That's right. You don't go off on your own. You walk straight along the road that God has set. You, God, prescribed the right way to live. Now you expect us to live it. Oh, that my steps may be steady, keeping to the course that you set. Then I'd never have any regrets in comparing my life with your counsel. I thank you for speaking straight from your heart. I learned the pattern of your righteous ways. I'm going to do what you tell me to do. Don't ever walk off and leave me. Be generous with me, and I'll live a full life. Not for a minute will I take my eyes off of your road. Open my eyes so that I can see what you show me of your miracle wonders. I'm a stranger in these parts. Give me clear directions. God, teach me lessons for living so I may stay the course. Give me insight so I can do what you tell me. My whole life, one long, obedient response. Guide me down the road of your commandments. I love traveling this freeway. Give me a bent for your words of wisdom and not for piling up loot. Divert my eyes from toys and trinkets. Invigorate me on the pilgrim way. May God add his blessing to the reading of his word.
Thank you, choir. What a beautiful, fun number, and what a perfect one as we start a new sermon series on a road trip through the Psalms. It's that time of year again. My Facebook feed has started having pictures of folks on their summer vacations or talking about their plans for vacations. There are posts It's about routings that will get you to all 50 states with the least mileage, or all the national parks with the least mileage. And there are links to the scariest road trips in Colorado, and one dubious one about a routing that will take you to all of the best waterfalls in Oklahoma. I was not aware there was water in Oklahoma. Sorry, John. Americans do like their travel in the summertime. AAA says that 35% of American families took a road trip vacation last summer, and 40 million Americans got a head start on this summer's travel on Memorial Day weekend. We have songs about highways. Many of us of a certain age can still sing the Beach Boys songs about getting around in little deuce coupes, or Dinah Shore's, and now I'm really dating myself, Diddy telling us to see the USA in our... And what about Willie Nelson's classic song, On the Road Again? Why do we love our summer travels, our road trips? Lots of reasons. We hope to learn things we didn't know. We want to see things we've only read about. We want to refresh and renew ourselves and reconnect with family and friends away from the routine that circumscribes our schedules. We hope to experience the truth of Mark Twain's observation that, quote, travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. Of course, Twain also said, quote, there is no surer way to find out whether you like people or hate them than to travel with them. But despite Twain's somewhat cynical second observation, we continue to travel, to take our road trips, because we have discovered that even amidst the uncertainties and annoyances, there is sometimes no better way to see our lives in new perspectives and open ourselves to new possibilities. We come to know the validity of that overused but nonetheless true observation that life itself is a journey. This summer, we shall be using the Psalms as our guide to life's journey, for as I read them over again in planning this series, I was struck by just how much Eugene Peterson's Message translation brings out those journey and trip images in the Psalms. Here again, some of the phrases from today's psalm. On the road revealed by God, you walk straight along the road God has set. Not for a minute will I take my eyes off your road. Guide me down your road. This morning, then, let's ask ourselves, how do we get ready for our road trip through life as we seek indeed to follow God's directions? How will we be best prepared to locate and follow that road revealed by God? To answer these three questions, let's think about three of the things that we need to do when we get ready for a trip. First, we pack for the journey. Second, we make sure we have a good guidebook. And third, we know when to throw away the guidebook. So, first, packing for our journey through life. Some people despise packing. Is that any of you? Other people make an art of it. Some people are really enamored of all the doodads you can buy that promise to make you a pro packer. Some people seem to make any trip no matter how long, with a single backpack, while others carry a veritable U-Haul of stuff on the shortest of trips. I see a couple of spouses going. When you pack for any trip, you try to anticipate what you will need. You try not to take the things you don't need. You try not to take too many of the same kind of things and too few of other things. If you're going on a plane trip instead of a road trip, you try to remember not to pack something you may need, like the time I flew from Hawaii to Indianapolis in January, dressed in my Aloha shirt and sandals, only to discover upon arriving that the walk from that plane to the terminal outside on the tarmac was in minus 12-degree weather with my coat safely packed in my suitcase. The first time that Barbara and I went to Hawaii, I packed some of the right things and many of the wrong things. The 6 carefully selected pair of socks ended up going unused. And I really didn't need the sweater that I had put in the suitcase for some reason. If you pack the wrong things, you end up lugging a suitcase heavier than it needed to be. If you forget to pack some of the right things, you end up buying that $7 tube of toothpaste at the airport when you could have spent that on a Mai Tai or a latte. Second, when you embark on a trip, particularly to a new place, you want a good guidebook, or these days, good websites or helpful apps for your phone. Somewhere in my files is a 1958 road map of Colorado. It would not be a very good guide, even if I wanted to use it to only travel as far as, say, Denver. Some of the roads on it no longer exist, and I-25 was only finally completed between here and Denver in 1968. Even new technology can mislead you. I'll never forget, on one of my road trips, a Google Maps suggested route from the east of El Paso to near Alamogordo, which turned out to be a very lonely 85-mile stretch of mostly dirt road that ended with a sign that cheerily announced to us that we were not to leave our vehicles because we were in a live fire area on the White Sands Missile Range. I have a 30-year-old AAA guidebook to Hawaii that would now be a very poor choice for navigating the Big Island, since many of the attractions and towns and routes it lists have since been covered by lava from Mauna Kea volcano. It's also important to get the right kind of guidebook for your purposes. If you're taking a trip that involves hitting as many golf courses as possible, a guidebook about the best places to scuba dive will be dubiously helpful. If you love finding local, off-the-beaten-track restaurants, taking your copy of the Michelin Guide will avail you very little. Guides on our journey are important, crucial even. They can help us know the way to go, supply wisdom from those who have passed this way before, show us where the potholes and the pitfalls are, and keep us from being scared or frustrated. But sometimes, to name the third element of getting ready for our journey, sometimes we need to resolve to know when to throw away the guidebook. I can't tell you how many times in Hawaii Barbara and I would see a couple or a family with their noses buried in their guidebooks and their precisely to the minute typed itinerary in front of them. And it was clear from overhearing them that they were missing some of the magic of being in that place because they were so obsessed with their planning. By doing so, they miss the magical, not in any guidebook beauty of stopping by an unmarked stream on a side road, plucking bananas and papaya for an unexpected snack. And since guidebooks typically list only the tourist-safe places, by not stopping at that hole-in-the-wall restaurant that will never be in any tourist guide, they missed out on truly getting to know some locals and experiencing some truly memorable local food instead of just tourist food. Now, you are no doubt asking, what do all these travel musings have to do with our topic for today? Just this. First Christian Church is embarking on a journey over the next 6 months. And if we are, in the psalmist's words, quote, to walk steadily on the road revealed by God, we will want to do all three of the things I have mentioned. First, as we begin the search for a successor senior pastor to follow me after my retirement 6 months from now, we will need to pack well. And to do so, we will need to make sure that we don't pack unhelpful history that no longer applies, and that we do pack a boundless trust in the God who has yet so much more mission and ministry for this congregation to accomplish. Second, we need the right guidebook. Our moderator, Don Metz, will be announcing at the congregational meeting following worship today the names of those that the board has unanimously approved as members of the search committee, and they will indeed be good guides. And they themselves will be guided by the wisdom of our new regional minister, Reverend Joanne Bell-Haynes. There are indeed a host of guides available for this process, both within and without our denomination, and the search committee and Reverend Bell-Haynes will know which guides are helpful to the process and which ones would only lead to wrong turns. Third, and finally, they will also know, as they, in the psalmist's words, do their best to find God, when to adapt, when to change the plan, when to look for the signs of God's highway in new places, when to listen for the promptings of the Spirit for new ways to go. I know that you will be praying for these folks, and we will commission and bless them in a few Sundays for this oh so important work. Before I close, though, let me say that these three pieces of advice about how to get ready for a trip inspired by Psalm 19 also apply not just to our church, but to your lives and mine. You and I always need to make sure that we pack those things that will actually prove useful and upbuilding for our journeys. Like my carefully packed socks that went back and forth to Hawaii unworn, you and I want to make sure that we're not packing things that don't help us. And we'll still be there at journey's end, just taking up space. Let's not pack those lingering resentments, those old anxieties, those fears that too often find us in the middle of the night. They will not help us, and they will only take up space in our lives that could be filled with better things. And let us, too, find good guides for our journeys. That's especially crucial now when there are so many false guides to be found who shout at us, who promote fake news to alarm us, who call to the worst that is in us instead of the best that Christ asks of us. Finally, let us never, as we journey, be afraid to make a change in what we planned. There are banana and papaya trees by the sides of our roads that beckon us and delight us if we will not be that obsessed with following what we thought was the plan. Let us be open to the new ways that new people will come into our lives that change us for the better, who will bless us with new gifts and new insights. But most of all, let us always, always remember and heed and daily pray the psalmist's words. Open my eyes, Lord, so I can see what you show me of your miracle wonders. The road awaits. There are miracles out there. Let's get ready to see them, shall we?